Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a Las Vegas casino. You're surrounded by all that chaos, the slot machines, the crowds, and you realize you are the only person in that entire room who actually knows what's about to happen next. What we're going to get into here is how one tiny observation, just a flicker of a mistake, can spiral into this massive, high-stakes operation to beat the house itself.
And this right here, this is really the heart of the story. It's a journey into a world where seeing everything just isn't enough, especially when there's a system you don't even know exists that's already watching your every single move.
So, where does it all start? Well, not with some grand elaborate plan. It all begins with a flicker of an observation, a tiny, almost invisible flaw in the casino's otherwise perfect facade.
Okay, picture it. You're 22 years old, you're in Vegas, and you're just there to have fun. You're not there to be a criminal mastermind, you're just a tourist at a blackjack table with $300, and honestly, you're expecting to lose a bit of it and just walk away with a good story. And then you see it, this tiny detail that most people would just completely miss. The dealer, he's a little sloppy. For just the 10th of a second, he flashes the bottom card, and because you're sitting at just the right angle, suddenly the whole curtain of the house edge just pulls back, revealing a weakness.
So you act on it, right? You quietly use this hidden information, and you walk away from the table up $180. And that money, it feels like way more than just cash. It feels like proof that this giant, unbeatable system is, in fact, beatable. But you know, that initial high, it's a trap, because it leads you down this rabbit hole. You go from just simple observation to a disciplined mathematical skill. The game isn't about luck anymore, it's all about the grind.
So what do? You spend the next 4 months obsessively mastering the high-low system. You basically train your brain to become a processor, assigning a value to every single card that leaves the deck, just waiting for that moment the count gets high, which means the deck is full of tens and aces. And you're doing all of this while holding a conversation, sipping a drink, and looking like just another tourist.
And here's the crazy part. The edge you get from all this work isn't some movie-style cheat code. It's a tiny 1 to 2% shift in your favor, but over thousands of hands, that tiny little percentage translates into real, tangible money.
What's really fascinating here is the fear. See, you're not scared of getting caught. Card counting isn't illegal. You are terrified of your own brain failing you under the pressure of all the lights and the noise. Walking away with a $400 win after a 3-hour grind, well, it makes you feel more alive than your data entry job ever could.
Okay, so you're winning, but there's a problem. A solo operator has a ceiling. There's only so much one person can do. And this forces the next evolution. You've got to build a team. And now, the game becomes less about cards and way more about psychology, communication, and absolute trust. So you don't just get a few friends to help out. No, you build a specialized crew. You create this coordinated machine where every single person has a critical role to play. From the counter, who's just tracking the deck, to the distraction, whose entire job is to divert security at the perfect moment. And the whole thing works like a carefully choreographed play. It all relies on this secret language of invisible signals, a hand in a pocket, a touch of an ear, stuff you practice in parking lots until it's second nature. It's a language the cameras just can't translate.
And this leads you to an absolutely crucial realization. The most valuable player on your team isn't the one winning the money. It's the one who sees the threats that you can't. A pit boss could be watching you for 6 straight minutes, and you'd never even know it. Your spotter is your lifeline.
All right, this is where things get really intense. This is where you cross a serious line, and the stakes shift from just losing money to, well, losing your freedom. You get your hands on an $8,000 device hidden in your shoe. It actually vibrates the correct play, which removes human error completely. But the second you use it, you go from being a legal nuisance that they can ask to leave to a full-blown federal target.
And just when you think the stakes can't get any higher, you move beyond tech to treason. You get an insider. This gives you an enormous advantage, of course, but it also introduces the most dangerous and unpredictable element of all into your perfect system, the human variable.
So now your operation is making a ton of money, but like the quote says, it's a machine with 8 different ways to break. Every single person on your team, every piece of tech you're using, it's a potential point of failure. One mistake and the whole thing just collapses.
And you start to see it. You know, these tiny, almost invisible signs of pressure. A teammate's hand tapping nervously. That dealer's subconscious glance when a supervisor walks by. These are the tells. They signal that the entire structure is at risk of falling apart. You're not just playing cards anymore. You're playing against the collective stress of your own team.
And this all leads to the end game, because you finally get to a point where you realize, while you were busy watching the game, a much, much larger game was watching you.
You start getting this look from the pit bosses, and it isn't suspicion, it's recognition. They're not trying to figure you out, they already know who you are. And that leads you to a chilling discovery. A private agency called Griffin Investigations has been compiling a detailed file on you.
And this timeline, wow, this just lays out the chilling truth. For 8 months, the House has known exactly who you are. They've just been watching, patiently documenting your every move and building their case. The House, you see, has a perfect memory.
So it's the last session. You're alone, you're up big, 28 grand. And then you see them. 2 men in civilian clothes, just watching you with this familiar kind of stillness. And you recognize the signs immediately. They aren't there to stop you or escort you out. They're there to build a federal case, just waiting for you to make one wrong move.
And this is it. This is the final, most important skill you have. You didn't miss the moment the room changed. You saw the trap before it snapped shut. And that is the only reason you get out when so many others don't. You cash out, you walk away, and you get on a plane.
So there you are, on the plane, with the money. You're safe, for now. You know exactly what you're leaving behind. The thrill, the team, the money. But the biggest gamble of all is figuring out what to do with the life you have left.